Hey everybody, how's it going? This is John Breeden. It is March 20th, 2019. Today is Wednesday on the show, which means I have the weekend preview coming up. We have Martinsville this weekend, the half-mile paperclip short track. We have Cup and truck action this weekend. Of course, the truck race on Saturday. Trucks return for the first time since Las Vegas a few weeks back. And the Cup race, the STP 500 on Sunday. I will be there live. Be there live once again at Martinsville. It is my 8th year going to Martinsville Speedway. Feels like yesterday I was going there for my first time, but I have been going to the Martinsville Spring Race since 2011, and I haven't missed a race since. I've also went to the Martinsville Fall Race since 2012. So I've seen a lot of the great finishes there over the past few years, including Jeff Gordon's last victory in 2015, which was also the same race that Matt Kenseth took out Joey Logano in that big rivalry. And also 2017, I was there when Kyle Busch won in what was called the best race of 2017, I believe. It was also the same race where Chase Elliott and Denny Hamlin got in their big feud. And, of course, I was there for last year's race with Joey Logano and Martin Truex in their beating and banging finish coming to the start-finish line. So, I've seen a lot of good finishes at Martinsville, and I can only hope I'm going to see another one this Sunday. Kyle Busch is going for 3 in a row in both the Truck Series and Cup Series this weekend in Martinsville. He has swept the weekend here at Martinsville before in 2016, and believe it or not, that was the first time Kyle Busch had ever gotten that grandfather clock. So, we have truck action on Saturday, and Kyle Busch is in the race, and I actually speculated a few weeks ago. I did not think he was going to run this race. He doesn't usually run the Martinsville truck race anymore. He usually lets one of his younger drivers run that race. I thought it was going to be Christian Eckes, but it is Kyle Busch. Kyle Busch will be behind the wheel to 51. Natalie Decker will not be in the field for the truck race. She is out, and her boss David Gilliland is in. So David Gilliland will be in the 54 truck. As far as everybody else, pretty much the same. And like I said, Kyle Busch going for 3 straight. He won at Atlanta and Las Vegas back-to-back, the second, third race of the year. So my prediction for this race is Kyle Busch. I don't see really anybody that's going to be able to beat Kyle. And, for whatever reason, he's been able to get a handle on Martinsville over the past few years when, it used to be for him. He used to really struggle at this racetrack. And ever since he broke through at that first win, 2016, he's really run better here. So I think Kyle Busch is going to win the truck race. I just don't see any stopping him. As far as second place goes, I think it's going to be Johnny Sauter, and I think it's a very good chance Johnny Sauter runs second to Kyle Busch. I think he will give him a good run for his money because Johnny Sauter, and I don't have the official stat because my internet is slow right here, so it's not letting me pull anything up, but I believe Johnny Sauter has 4 Truck Series wins at Martinsville. So, like I said, don't hold me against that because I do not have my stats right in front of me. So, I'm just speculating. But I believe he won 2011, 2013, 2016, and then he won last year, 2018, when he advanced to the Championship 4. And he did the same in 2016. So he's won the spring race twice and the fall race twice. So my pick for second place is Johnny Sauter. And we'll see how he does. I think Ben Rhodes runs good at Martinsville. I remember I think he won the first stage last year in the Martinsville spring race. He runs fairly well at Martinsville. I was there last year for the truck race because last year's spring race got snowed out. So they ended up running the truck and cup race both on the same day. So I was there for that. And I remember Ben Rhodes was running really well, and then something happened to him. I think he had like a penalty or something like that and got shuffled back. But I remember he was running very well. So Ben Rhodes should be one to watch. And also Grant Enfinger, I'm sure, is going to be strong, as well as probably Brett Moffitt. Brett Moffitt will be somewhere in the mix as well. So look for those guys to have some good runs. That may even be your top 5 right there. Kyle Busch, Johnny Sauter, and then some sort of mix between Ben Rhodes, Grant Enfinger, and Brett Moffitt, wherever they may finish in the top 5. But we'll see. And yeah, that's about it. Don't really have anything else to add about this race. I mean, I think all the KBM trucks should run well this week. I mean, Harrison Burton coming off a good run in Vegas, as well as Todd Gilliland. They both finished the top 10. So I think they're going to run well. So yeah, David Gilliland should get a top 10. We'll see. But yeah, that is the truck race. Tune in on Saturday. And we get to the cup race now. And one thing I've noticed about Martinsville over the past few years is that although it has provided some of the best racing, and it is inconsistent to a certain degree, because if you remember last year's spring race, I believe only had like 4 cautions. There were only like 4 or 5 cautions in that race. And the year before that, I think it was like 10 or 12. And I'm talking about the spring race, of course. But yeah, some Martinsville races, they're wild and have dramatic finishes. And some of these other Martinsville races, they're just, I mean, they're okay. So hopefully it's not a okay race. I hope it's a very good race. But the Martinsville Fall is usually the wilder race, and the spring race is a little bit more calmed down. If you remember 2012 was probably the wildest spring race. If you remember, late restart, Clint Boyer dove 3 wide to the inside on Jeff Gordon and Jimmy Johnson on a late restart. It was like 2 to go, I think. They both spun out. All 3 of them spun out, and none of them ended up winning the race. So I recall that one being like the craziest spring race I've ever seen. But nonetheless, I think we will see maybe around 7 or 8 cautions. That's my prediction. Because, I mean, you have some of those younger guys out there, and, Martinsville tends to be a traffic jam at times. So I think we'll see 7 or 8 cautions. I think this will be kind of a moderate race. And 7 or 8 cautions, of course, count in the stages. So I guess like 6 for incidents. But, yeah. So as far as who I'm picking for the win, obviously remember Clint Boyer won the spring race last year, putting an end to a nearly 6-year winless drought. And he just dominated that race. And obviously Kyle Busch is going to be a favorite as well. He's going for 3 in a row in the Cup Series. Denny Hamlin, a short track hometown native. Obviously, I think he probably run pretty good. I think the Hendrick cars I don't really know, to tell you the truth. I think Chase Elliott is going to have a pretty solid run. He runs pretty solid at Martinsville. As far as Jimmy Johnson, I just don't know about Jimmy. Like I said on Monday, it's like he runs good at the beginning of the race, but as the race goes on and progresses, he seems to fade a little bit. So, but Jimmy Johnson also has 9 wins at Martinsville. So, if that tells you anything, you should put a little faith in his stock as far as coming to a place like Martinsville where he's won 9 times. But I don't know. It'll be interesting if he can get a top 10. Top 10, top 15 maybe. I don't see him contending for the win or anything like that. But look for Jimmy to get a top 15, I believe. Joey Logano, he's good on the short track. So is Brad Keselowski. Joey Logano, of course, won here last fall. So I expect the Penske and Joe Gibbs cars do what they've been doing this season, and that's run strong and win races. And you look at the first 5 races, only Team Penske and Joe Gibbs have won races this year. So, and on that note, I think that trend will continue because I think the winner of the STP 500 will be Martin Truex Jr. And Martin Truex Jr., believe it or not, has still never won at a short track in the Cup Series. He's come close quite a few times. The past 2 fall races, he's finished in 2nd place. He's come close at Richmond, came close at Bristol last fall. So, I tell you what, Joe Gibbs Racing for Martin Truex Jr., I think that ends this weekend in Martinsville. He has had some really strong cars. He ultimately had the best car last week in California, or at least in that first stage, he had one of the fastest cars. He came from outside the top 25 into the top 10 very quickly, and he got damage after Stenhouse spun out. He said Stenhouse Jr. ruined it, ruined his day by spinning out. I don't know if I believe that, but I just mean in a way like, you know, I mean, dude, like he spun out, like. You know, I think it was just an incident. I don't think Stenhouse was not trying to intentionally screw up Truex's day. I mean, he spun out. What else can you do? But anyway, I think Truex will have a very fast car, and I think he gets the win. I think it's time for Truex Jr. to win on a short track. Like I said, it's hard to believe he still hasn't done it because he's had some fast short track cars. So I think Martin Truex Jr. gets it done. He gets his first grandfather clock, making it 3 in a row for Joe Gibbs Racing and continuing the trend of the only teams winning in 2019 are Joe Gibbs and Team Penske. So, yeah, Martin Truex Jr. wins. I think Brad Keselowski and Joey Logano, probably, I say they both get a top 5. They've just been running so strong. They run good at Martinsville. I say they both get a top 5. Kyle Busch, he'll be up there. I'm sure he'll lead some laps. Give him a top 10. Not so sure if he'll finish the top 5, but give him a top 10. Denny Hamlin, probably a top 10 as well as Chase Elliott. Jimmy Johnson, 14th or 15th, probably. Trying to think of who else. Kurt Busch, I think he gets a top 10. I mean, he's one of the strongest Chevys this year. I think Kurt gets a top 10. He is a former Martinsville winner. And as far as the Haas cars, I think Boyer probably finishes top 10. I don't know about Harvick, to tell you the truth, but I say he at least gets a top 15, maybe 11th or 12th for Harvick. I just don't know. Harvick, recent weeks, is just not shown the speed. I guess he did come back to get a top 5 in California, but man, I mean, he was struggling early in that race, and I don't know, Harvick Martinsville isn't one of his best tracks. I mean, he has one there, but not one of his better tracks over the years, so we'll see. So, yeah, I think I've covered everybody I want to cover. Stenhouse Jr., I predicted a big day for him in California because it's one of the bigger tracks, but man, we're coming to the short track of Martinsville. I don't know about Stenhouse. I think, I don't know. I don't even think he gets a top 20. I just don't. I think, I don't know. I think he's better at Bristol. Bristol's his better short track. I just don't think doesn't usually run too well at Martinsville, so I think he finishes outside the top 20. I think Ryan Newman gets a top 20, maybe 18th or 19th. So we'll see. Who else? Oh, I didn't cover the rest of the Haas cars. Eric Almirola, he should get a top 10. And you know what? He's been running really good in recent weeks, and he is pretty good on those short tracks. I'll go ahead and give him a top 5. I think Almirola gets a top 5. And Daniel Suarez, Martinsville, not one of his better racetracks, but I think the Haas speed gives him maybe a 17th place finish. So we'll see if he can get that. William Byron and Alex Bowman. Bowman, I don't know. I kind of see them outside the top 20. I don't know. They're not the best on the short tracks, and we'll see. I think they both finish outside the top 20, and Alex Bowman's just had a string of bad luck in recent weeks, so we'll see. All right, that is it for my Martinsville prediction show. I'll be back on Monday to give my recap on the truck race that I will watch on FS1, and I will be in the crowd for Martinsville. I will be there live, so I will give you my live perspective on the STP 500. That is all. Everybody have a great day.